Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another glorious company with Heroes 3 casting out. In this episode, we're going to be going up against rank 50 NCFL DAK player, Mr. Genobi. Accolades out of the way. We're going to go ahead and go with the Special Operations Commander getting a... excuse me, just drank some carbonated water. Getting a Weasel onto the field with a Engineer and pushing our scouts to the left of the map, trying to get as much map control and free heals as possible.
We have M29 Weasels ready.
While the boring stuff is happening, let's go ahead and confirm that Mr. Genobi rank, so you know I'm not a dirty liar. Boom! He's got the nice little B rank, high rank ELO signal, the bat signal, plus 50 right there.
Weasel.
Man has over 1,000 games. He knows how to play a company of Heroes 3. So, as your boy is relearning the metas, relearning the game, and suffering for the 15th time, or however much I take a break from this game, he's just talking to me right now. I was exhausted. I was like, what are you talking about? And then he's like, oh, your name. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. But yeah, I've been suffering. I've been playing Brits, and I just don't get it. I'll do well with USF. I can figure out USF. I play Brits, and sometimes I'm beating rank 100 players, rank 90 players, and the next I am losing to a rank 300 players because he's just moving Jaeger blobs across the field. While the Engineers are capping, I'm going to go ahead and put them in a green cover right here. I've noticed this nice little spot that gives me free green cover and protects me from any nasty bolt action rifles. He's telling me about the gym. I recommend Genobi, if you're not doing cardio, run. It has brought me back to my military weight. I'm back in my 180s, 190s at 6'2", and I'm feeling great. Now, with that 250 onto the field, that tells me he has less capping speed, but he has more harassing speed. I'm going to go ahead and put the scouts into the building, trying to bleed him and deny him, focusing on the decap as much as possible. Now, he will get the decap, and I don't want to get any nasty model drops while he's harassing me, so I'm popping out of the house, trying to kite him and getting him off the point. It works, buying me time. I'm going to go ahead and pop back in. I'm trying to not drop a model, because if I do, he's going to be able to more than likely wipe me in retreat. Remember, the Kriegsmarine have the one STG model, and because they're in the Navy, for some reason, they outperform.
We have riflemen taking the field.
You know, they are killing machines if you're not careful. Now, they did receive a nerf, but they used to be devastating killers at launch, because this game is... basically pay to win with a lot of commanders, including allied commanders as well. As much as you know how I harass and put my pointers onto Axis cheese and I call bullshit, there's some allied commanders that were cheesy when they come out for the first wave. So, Weasel capping the munition point, moving the Engineers on over. I'm assuming that there's a Kratschützen. Kratschützen is an amazing capping vehicle. This is telling you, but I will not be able to know until later on into the game. Rifleman pushing up. Name of the game is try to take the house before he does. Now, I did not touch the fuel point, but somehow he knew that I was about to take the house. Now, with him taking the house, there's more windows than you can handle. There's a STG model that can immediately bleed you. Weasel moving in the background, trying to get a kill onto the 250. We will build an additional rifleman. I'm going to go for 3, and I'll explain why later. Unfortunately, 250 rolls around town, so I'm going to go ahead and take the riflemen and put them into green cover with the scouts in the background, trying to get some...
Rifleman squad deployed.
Excuse me. Decaps, trying to get my fill back. Unfortunately, I take a massive damage burst in the Weasel. I don't know how that works. Maybe the side armor got hit, but this Weasel will be going down shortly, and I was stressed. I thought I lost the game. It was a stupid mistake. I have no idea why he got out of the house. If he would have just held the house, he would have won this fight. But he gives up the house. My Engineers roll around town. I do lose the Weasel, unfortunately. I'm switching in, trying to get a dirty wipe on the Kriegsmarine. But he will get away, and I'm in a little bit of panic mode. I lost my free heals. I lost my ability to get a free mortar. And I'm just trying to keep it together right now. And again, I've lost my capping ability. So because of that 250 loss, Weasel loss, I'm basically down to Rifleman. Right at 220. I could have bought a Rifleman for 40 more, or 50 more manpower. They changed it from 260 to 270. So, I'm going to go ahead and just try to focus on the recaps, get a third rifleman going. Because sometimes I'll take captain, but I've realized that if you don't get a third rifleman going, you're basically lost the game, right? You have to be able to fight these units in the early game. So, putting the Engineers in, I don't want him to take the house. I want him to basically be halted. He cannot get any closer. If he does, the Engineers will shred him, putting heavy DPS onto him the closer he gets. And Rifleman will move up to support and supplement. I noticed that the Kratschützen is moving around town. I'm trying to get some dirty shots into it, and it tells me that he's trying to get some dirty decaps while I'm focusing on these engagements on the left side. Now, that early 250 will kind of fuck him over, so it allows my rifleman to push out into the field and cover my flanking points, preventing him from getting dirty decaps onto me. Engineers will hold. Rifleman pushing over. I see that unit coming around town, trying to get a decap on my manpower point. And we do need a manpower in the early game, but I just don't want him to have it. Rifleman, go ahead and hug them. Tactical pause engage. So I notice a lot of people will bring the rifleman to medium range. If you do that, you're probably going to lose against the DAK. The DAK it's a running jokes amongst me and my friends, but the guy I used to do 2v2 with, came up with the term. It's bolt action shotguns essentially with this guy, right? With DAK, I don't know why, but they're bolt action shotguns. The closer you get, the more DPS that they do. And it could be a 50-50 fight with the rifleman. But if you keep him at medium range, you're going to lose against that. So Rifleman will go ahead and hug into him. I'm putting shots into the crash shoots and trying to chase it away. I don't want to harass me getting that one bonus. And it works. Rifleman will focus the top five right here. Putting him in the green cover. I'm going to put all 3 rifles down to him. Now, I notice you see the Riflemen are shooting. It looks like they're shooting that. It's actually shooting this one lone model from the squad. And I was like, wait a second. I know I told all 3 to fire. So that's exactly what we're doing right now. So, with our tactical blob, we're going to go ahead and try to drop a model. Any model drops or health bleeds in the early game is going to help us out a ton. I do notice a yellow point right here with the Kriegsmarine. They get a nice little fortified position going, or hard point. And it can drop free med bags for 150 fuel. Basically, it's a little bit cheaper on the fuel and manpower-wise so, than getting a med truck, if I got that right. Turn that off real quick. Select a player only. This game, the fucking menus, they still suck after all these years. So, with the low scouts, I said, okay, you forced me to tech meds. I really don't want to tech early game meds, but at 5 minutes, we're going to have to tech med bags. I do catch a glimpse of the engineer. I don't know how I see it, but sometimes this game kind of bugs out, and the riflemen are going to spot him, so I'm going to keep the rifleman at maximum range, assuring that I don't get shot in my ass, and just get a nice little decap. I know the blob's going to be coming soon, so I put a tactical mine, hoping to catch the 250 off guard, because a lot of players will just dive straight in, and, a lot of USF players don't put mines in the early game. So, Rifleman get the dirty decap. I'm going to go ahead and back him off. And I'm just trying to basically bring my flanks in. I noticed that when the blob comes out in the field, I won't have enough force multipliers to win. 250 diving me. Engineers in support. We're going to go ahead and put rounds into him. He ejects the Kriegsmarine. No big deal. I'm going to go ahead and ignore them. With the tactical blob onto the field, I realized that I lost this fight. I don't know why the Riflemen take the dangerous path around the corner. This game is buggy. But, yeah, I get out of this engagement. With that tactical blob, that told me everything I need to know. I'm going to have to blob him. Crouch Houston is decapping in the background. I'm going to go ahead and rotate the scouts onto the 5 and 10 fuel. Why am I not chasing him? The more I chase him, the more he can decap me, so I might as well cock block him with my scouts while the captain comes around for a little bit of flank and spank. Oh yeah, baby. Zeke busing! Zeke busing for the fatherland. Oh! Yeah! Can't wait for the latest update. I wonder how that's going to work out. You people on Reddit, you freak out over everything. Oh my goodness, I like reading the Reddit comments because it's just a lot of Axis players saying, this server... Oh, I'm joking. But before I get to that, I'm going to go ahead and put scouts into the house and try to get as much bleed as I can. He will decap plus 10 fuel, and it is frustrating me a bit, but I need to just keep my head on a swivel, focus on these engagements, and bring up the blob of Rifleman. Because he blobbed, I'm going to have to blob to counter him. But back to the Reddit. I just noticed that the Reddit says, guys, this Reddit is full of allied players, and then when an allied player makes a comment onto the Reddit, right, it's immediately downvoted to hell. And I'm like, who's in charge here? The allied players or the Axis players? Focusing with my tactical blob onto one squad, keeping them tactically spaced in case of a dirty nade, just being very cautious. He could have popped nades onto me. He does not. That 2-man squad will come in handy because with 2-man models, you might more than likely get a wipe, and that mine will detonate. And right now, that's a squad wipe, ladies and gentlemen. Riflemen are going to go ahead and just basically focus off these other squads. So, mines win games, folks, and with that squad out of the game, out of my life, I'm going to go ahead and take all these models and focus down the Kriegsmarine, trying to get a kill. Rifleman overpowered! No, you should have put them in the cover, but hey, I realize that you're blobbing, I'm going to go ahead and tactically blob, and that's the name of the game, folks. Unfortunately, with all my Riflemen blobbed together, I do not get the wipe because the Kriegsmarine, yeah. It was a full health squad, so I understand why. If I would have got the wipe, that would have been a miracle. Anyways, so I do get a wipe with the mine that's massive. At the time, I did not realize that. I thought that that squad had survived and I had gotten his crack hits. And so with that mine detonation, it gives me a little bit of encouragement to put a mine right here, right? It's because a lot of players, when they hit a mine the first time, they will swerve around and try to figure out a way to get around it. Second mine detonation. I've been a busy boy putting mines everywhere. I don't remember where I put that mine, but it did explode. You heard it? I heard it. So with the plus 5 fuel on the right, I'm going to go ahead and take the scout squad and poke at it, I believe. But No. I'm gonna go reroute it to the munitions. I'm gonna keep my blob together, right? Captain's gonna go ahead and take the house because that Kratchitsen's onto the field, is what I'm assuming at this
One
point.
of our munitions points being
And
neutralized.
I just want to go ahead and make sure that if it does come around town and harass me and start dirty decapping me, the captain can go ahead and give me a warning.
Chaffee light tank is
Excuse me.
accounted for.
Chaffee coming onto the field. Why did I go Chaffee? A lot of people go Greyhound, and that's a really good option, but I had a feeling that if I went Greyhound, that he would have an immediate counter to my Greyhound, which is the 250 Panzer,
Victory point is under attack.
Panzer Jaeger squad? Yeah, no. The Panzerbusch squad, there we go. 250 Panzerbusch squad onto the field. Why didn't I get a cap with the engineers? I realized that the blob could come over to the left side of the map, and I said, okay, it's decapped, we're in a good position, might as well get a dirty mine down and hopefully catch that Kratchitsen, is the name of the game. So moving the scouts over to the right side, bringing my blob together. He does throw a nasty stun nade onto me. People say stun nade, right? That thing hits like a regular nade. It does stun damage and slaps you like a regular nade. That can wipe a squad. I don't know why, from a balance perspective, right? Because remember Company of Heroes 2, the OKW had a stun nade and it acted like a stun nade. It would do very little model damage. I do hit a mine for my opponent, good mine. It would do very little physical damage, but it would stun you heavily. In this game, the stun nade will do massive amount of damage and possibly wipe you. And with the stun, you're just going to sit there and take it. Hitting another mine, that tells me I'm going to go ahead and grab an additional engineer and start the mine sweep game going. You know, he was offended by my mine, he's going to go ahead and counter mine me, and that's a well play for my opponent. With that massive blob, let's go ahead and get out. I'm not going to be able to decap the point. Engineers putting more mines down. I want to catch the Kratchitsen off its game and hopefully knock it out, preventing any more dirty decaps on me. Chaffee backing out because again he's pushing me. Captain acting as again a early warning system, giving me nice notifications. I get a nice pin into the Stuggy or Stug 3. It's a Stuggy, and again another frontal pin. This is very lucky. Most of the time you don't pin these things frontally at max range with the Chaffee. It's a honestly 25% chance in my experience. Moving the rifleman over. Why am I not pushing with the rifleman? Stuggy can still hit me even at half health. I want him to think I have nades. You know, letting him think that I have nades, that he could be flanked, and it causes him to back off. But he's most likely healing up the background. And sometimes you can hear the welders, cranking out. I do get a nice little wipe onto the Kratchitsen, as I was talking about with the mine. We do miss that, but that is massive for me. And a huge loss for him. You know, minus the plus 10% mark target and the ability to spot me from across the map. This is huge for me. Moving the rifleman over with the Chaffee into support. We will get an AT gun because the Chaffee won't be enough, and he could go Martyr to counter my Chaffee. So again, looking good for me. It's starting to come back together. I'm starting to stress a little bit less, and I'm bleeding him as well. Popping a flare with my scouts. I do have enough munitions to go ahead and tech that up and get a utility package. Left side of the map, engineers are holding. We will back it out. I do see the Stuggy unsupported. I will go ahead and move in. Get a nice juicy shot with the AT gun. Bounce with the Chaffee, like I was talking about. The Chaffee's a bouncing machine. AT gun, Chaffee bounce. Confirmed. Stuggy, super powerful. Krupa Steel for the Fatherland. Yeah. Sometimes it's a hit or miss with the Chaffee. AT gun will hold the flank, moving the rifleman combo over, focusing onto the Panzer Grenadiers. I see him pushing in. Again, scouts providing me some scouting. And I'm just going to go ahead and merge the rifleman over. Keeping him spaced out again. I don't want a dirty snare onto me. There is the Martyr onto the field. AT gun is bouncing off of the Stuggy. I was starting to stress out. I was like, alright, this is bad. I don't want to use armor-piercing rounds just yet. If Martyr does push up, that's going to be my focus target, because if the Martyr gets off the field, then I can move and push in the Chaffee. AT gun gets knocked out. I'm going to go ahead and bring the rifleman over to recrew. But yeah, my goal was to hopefully get another shot into the Martyr, dive with the Chaffee, and because that blob was forced back, we missed it, but my rifleman won in that engagement. You can see it on the attack map if you want to replay the video. I'm going to go ahead and recrew my AT gun, and I was trying to kill that Martyr and basically run it at full sprint with the rifleman, get a dirty snare onto it, and just dive the Chaffee. And, you know, try to sweep in my face with the rifleman. Captain pushing up, we won that engagement. They held the house, you know, providing a little bit extra DPS. And it's looking good. I will tech into nades now because he's not being cautious with his vehicles. He let my rifleman get really close, and I'm hoping for some dirty snares onto him. When I see you're not immediately backing up your vehicles, that tells me, okay, let's go ahead and tech nades and not waste this opportunity. Moving the engineers over, I will get some dirty mines onto these points right here, and I think I'll put one over here eventually. AT gun coming out. I do need the heals onto it because unfortunately that Stuggy was performing on that last engagement, and you saw the bounces, and I was like, okay, we need to make sure our AT guns crews are healthy, because when there's one Stuggy, there's usually two Stuggies that follow, And I understand why, because 2 Stoogies can turn into 3 Stoogies, and while one is getting bitch slapped by the AT guns, the other 2 are max range hitting you. Rifleman backing out. I'm going to go ahead and lose this engagement. There's a second Stoogie, and I said, okay, time to invest in an additional AT gun. I do have the Minesweeper engineers going to go ahead and start sweeping the map eventually. You know, I've hit enough mines to learn that it's not worth the model drops. And while that is happening, I have technical survival training. Why? Because I realize that I'm going to need a rifleman to push these Stoogies back, and I need to survive these engagements to have a chance. And because he has spent, so much fuel onto the Martyr and the 2 Stoogies, the cost of the rifleman tech and upgrades are roughly the same cost as all 3 vehicles combined. So that's why I feel confident putting the engineers into combat. I noticed he's going to pop a phosphorus nade. I thought it was a smoke grenade. It's been a while since I played. But it will burn my AT gun pretty decently, and I start stressing a little bit. I said, okay, we need to go ahead and back that out, but keep the AT gun healthy. So I believe I will roll it back to base and get some heals momentarily. Just kind of debating. Pushing in with the rifleman. I see the dirty mine. I'm going to go ahead and get a nice little sweep. Chappie pushing in around town. I'm okay with the snare because I can snare him. Chappie's full health. And I'm trying to get some nice little pot shots into the Stoogie. It is just not working for me. Chappie will go ahead and focus on this engagement now. I will have him chased off, pop a dirty nade. He will back out. Captain decapping the fuel in the background, trying to get a snare with the rifleman. But because I see that Martyr and Stoogie in the background, I'm going to go ahead and back out. I said, okay, we've lost this engagement. Rifleman too low. Captain got the dirty decap. It's my time to harass him, get his fuel fucked up, and help, hopefully, start recouping that lost fuel in the early game. So if you check the KD ratio, the Axis army is just not that good. I'm not saying DAK is OP at this point. If they go the new commander with DAK, it's incredibly overpowered because they can get the bolt-action rifles that are better than the MG34, and the free med bags is absolutely devastating because it can heal out in the field. But other than that, I think DAK is not in a... It's not a super I'm not going to say overpowered. There we go. It can be just annoying to fight. It can steamroll you if you're not being cautious. But I'm not going to say overpowered. It's just frustrating to play against if you're not careful. So he does throw a stun nade onto me. I'm going to go ahead and back out. I don't want to eat that nade because of massive health drops. I do get the dirty decap, but I know some scouts will lose this engagement. And I need them continuously harassing and decapping for me. But yeah, DAK's not overpowered. I think some of the changes I can understand, but if you don't know how to counter DAK, it can be very overpowered because an 8-rad rush into you will wreck you. And it's very frustrating to play against. So Rifleman holding the line. I'm going to go ahead and get behind the green cover.
One of our sectors
bringing my tactical blob together. AT guns will reconvene momentarily. I'm just trying to get a rough idea where the Stoogies are spaced out at. And again, keep tactical spacing because the Stoogies, if they hit you and they're clumped together, that's an unnecessary manpower bleed and you will suffer. I joked about it a couple of years ago against my video against Pie Eater, right? But the 2-to-1 KD ratio, when people say USF are amazing, right? You're basically, you gotta make amass rifles and push, right? They just bleed so damn heavy. I noticed the MG34 out of position. We'll go ahead and rotate the captain. Bring it on over. A #1 rule I kind of joke about with Company of Heroes 3, when I was an air traffic controller for the U.S. Army, not the guys with the sticks, an actual FA air traffic controller, you want to keep your eyes rotating and doing something every 3 to 5 seconds. So when I was telling Blackhawks, hey, on course on glide path every 3 to 5 seconds when I was using a radar approach, this is how I play the game. Always be doing something every 3 to 5 seconds. Rotation, 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 right? Trying to put a smoke grenade and save the AT gun. Unfortunately, it does get a wipe, but I do have the captain spotting in the background with my AT gun in support because riflemen are coming over. I am getting some dirty decaps in the background while this engagement is going on because this blob's on the right side, so it might as well capitalize on the left side. Chappie moving in, trying to get some pot shots into him, and basically be on standby in case he's going to hit my AT gun. I will recruit the AT gun with the scouts, bringing this guy over to get some nice little medbag heals just in range, and trying to push him back. Chappie does open up for a pot shot. I believe it's a miss, but the AT gun does hit and pin. This is massive for me because it scares him back a little bit, allows my AT gun to heal, and I said, okay, that's good enough. And I'm just basically hitting the reinforce button on this AT gun because the models are healthy, so I don't need to really bring it back to the med tent. Excuse me. Engineer's capping. While he's focused on that, I'm going to go ahead and, again, operate on the left side of the map. I don't want to go too deep because, again, these engineers are low, and we don't know... Sorry, not this one. The engineers on the left are low, and I just don't know. AT gun setting up, trying to get some shots into him. Rifleman coming around town for a little bit of reach around. Going to go ahead and move the snare onto the Martyr. Why the Martyr? Because if that thing gets knocked out, my Chappie has free reign into his face. Get a nice snare. AT gun's going to go ahead and finish momentarily. Boom! Massive shot from the AT gun. Rifleman snare the Stoogie, but it is not engine crit. So Rifleman soaking up the damage. Do get massive pins because the side armor was exposed onto the Stoogie. And this is huge.
We have
Pushing
a
the
large
Stoogie
amount
back
of
left side of the
command
map.
points available.
Again, engineers were low. That's what I was talking about. I will rotate them out momentarily. Rifleman just trying to hold the ground. Captain,
We've lost the territory
in
sector.
position, in behind green cover, so we will win this. Plus the Thompson model is just, soaking up, or putting damage onto him. Engineers, I was trying to throw a satchel onto him that does not work out, so I'm going to go ahead and back them out, get the repairs going onto the Chaffee. Well, I'm moving the Chaffee back because the engineers are going to be in base, and it's a faster way to repair it. Rifleman pushing back out again. What am I trying to do? We need to kill the Rex. If you go ahead and click onto the Rex when they're visible, I'll show you why. Because he has went the Stoogie route, that means that he can get a repair vehicle over into his base. Now, if you do not kill the Rex, this repair vehicle, which is 30 fuel, 250 manpower, can revive this Stoogie for basically less than half the cost and fuel that it took to get onto the field. So, to make matters even worse, if he salvages it, he can get a decent fuel recoup back. But if he brings this wreck back to life, right, it can harass you, and it's just going to be a rough game for you. So now I'm killing the Rex, getting rid of the green cover as well. I don't want him to have any green cover. I want this to be a kill zone for him.
Sector gone.
Or I want him to be in a kill zone is what I meant to say. And we'll eventually get those flares going. Because he's lost his martyr and his Stoogie, I want to go ahead and, put pressure onto his hard point. There we go. Because I know that eventually it will be a flak tower and I won't be able to push up anymore. Stoogie coming onto the field, WT combo, set up and ready to go. Get a nice juicy pin in the first volley. Second bounce, third bounce. Now, I do chase off the P-Rin, so this is a win for me. Again, tactically spacing out the Rifleman. Can't have them blobbed up or I will eat it. Moving my blob over to the left side of the map. Feeling more confident. Why did I not get into the house? He expected me to get in there, and boom, there's a phosphate, but I wasn't going to get in there because the Stoogie can put rounds into it, and that's not what I want. AT guns scooting up.
Remaining for the Germans.
Left side of the map, I noticed a MG. I wanted that, but I'm going to go ahead and focus the P-Grins and bring the Rifleman around. I'm going to split him up eventually. Tried to wipe him. Unfortunately, I missed the opportunity. Stoogie does go down with the AT gun combo. Yeah, a lot's going on. That's huge. What was next on the chopping block with that Stoogie dead? I should have killed the wreck right away, but I was focused on getting this tower knocked out, right? The hard point, I'm going to go ahead and put rounds into it with the AT guns is what I wanted to do. And basically just trying to clean up the map. Do get a nice little nade onto the MG. But yeah, Genovi's going to go ahead and throw in the towel, and I understand why. So, my rank at the time is not high. I'm in the 1400 elo, right? From regrinding the game. And I think that he thought it was going to be an easy game based on my rank, because a lot of players with high ranks will go, oh, well, I was just going to curb stomp you to death. And I understand that. Again, relearning the game, right? So I think it was a bit of a shock to him, because after it doesn't show it, right? He didn't leave for a hot minute, but I told him, I was like, dude, I'm shocked. And I was trying to tell him more, and then he immediately left. So I don't know if he was going to gear up for rage, because again, in my past videos, Genovi will rage out, and sometimes he'll be chill. He'll be like, hey man, my bad. But if he was being chill, I understand. Now, if we look at the KD ratio, overperforming Rifleman, I like to make the joke, right? That for me to win this engagement, it required me to tech into survival training, and infantry. What's it called? Survival training and the reinforcement. 20% reduced cost on infantry to survive this. Again, I teched it because with his vehicles coming out into the field, I said, okay, the Riflemen are just going to be squishy. He's going to have the Martyr that's going to penetrate the Chaffee, and I need to be able to recruit the models that are going to be lost in these engagements, right? I'm going to lose models no matter what, so I might as well get the most bang for my buck. And it does pay off, because even though we suffered in the KD, we were able to put enough damage dealt onto him. I was a bit confused, though. A rank 50 player, right, he could have smashed me relearning the game, because I will play Brits and I'll get smashed by a rank 300 player, but they're using some kind of cheesy tactic, either the flame spam going on right now. I don't know. I'm trying to make Brits work, but they're so frustrating. 1 second I'll have a match where I'll get 53 kills in an infantry section. Next match, I'm barely pulling like 10 kills on the infantry sections. And I don't know what they have done to the fucking, what is it called? The British tank they have to pay 50 fuel to tech into. Oh God, what is it called? M3 Lee, if I got that right. I don't know Grant, M3 Grant. I don't know what they did to the Grants, but it's just not in a good place right now. You have to get veterancy on it. All right, cool. The double hidden packs that Wehrmacht get can curb stomp the Grant. It's just pinning it like nobody's business. So I've had more luck with the Matilda at this point. But yeah, GG well played to my opponent. I've been playing DAK. I've had some pretty fun games with DAK. You know, it's definitely God, I'm stuttering. Basically, with DAK, the typical build is scratch Hitson into 3 Panzer Grenadiers, right? You're going to win most engagements. You're just going to shred everything. And as long as the Brits aren't at maximum range and you're running at him full sprint, you're going to win, is what I've been experiencing. All right, GG, well played to my opponent. I'm starting to get a little bit better at the game. And yeah, it's been fun.